This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the new media production studio designed by Audimute.com in Coldwater, Michigan. The lead stories are Bitcoin, tanks. The ACLU sues Homeland Security on facial recognition. Ring is pausing third-party data collection. And Italian kids strain the internet in Italy. I want to welcome you to episode 1429 of the Geek News Central podcast for Thursday, March 12th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider. Everyone, we're live. We're live at geeknewscentral.com/live, live.geeknewscentral.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitch. We're on Twitter. We're on Mixer. We're everywhere you watch live. And of course, we want to welcome anyone that is a brand new listener to the show. Doesn't matter if you're watching or listening. You can check the show out from the website at geeknewscentral.com. That's great. Main thing is you're here and that you found us. So, but the main thing I want you to do is I want you to get over to geeknewscentral.com, and when you're on the website, all you got to do is subscribe to the podcast. Is check out Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Android, Stitcher, the email, RSS feed, or just, if you don't know what I'm talking about, click on that more subscribe option. Scroll a little further down the page. You're going to find our link to our newsletter. Get signed up for a newsletter. The newsletter contains everything I'm going to talk about in the show today. Delivered directly to your inbox with all the show notes, with all the links to all the articles that I'm going to talk about. Of course, you can listen to the show on blueberry.com, or you can listen on your smart home device by using the magic word to launch that device and say, play the podcast, Geek News Central. You can join our chat room at geeknews.chat. That's on a Mastodon server. You can join our Discord channel. That link is in the show notes at geeknewscentral.com for this episode. Or you can join our Slack channel by sending me an email at geeknews@gmail.com. Of course, that's my contact as well. If you have comments that you want to send, you just drop me a line. Let me know. You can, of course, follow me on Twitter at Geek News. That's the other location. And, of course, you can follow me on Facebook. Hey, this show has a great set of partner shows. They're all linked at geeknewscentral.com. It includes a GNC Weekend Review with Kirk Corliss, the Gadget Professor with Mr. Don Bain, the Pro Gear site written by my team, the new media show, hosted myself, Mr. Rob Greenlee, and, of course, the now pod-fated podcast legends. You can always pick up Ohana gear at cafepress.com/Ohana store. This show is the longest running continuous sponsor, and that's from our good friends at GoDaddy.com. They've been taking care of the show since June of 2005. And you can find all of the great deals that we have for GoDaddy over on the page at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, whether it be a $4.99.com, whether it be a $1 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain, or a $1 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year with a free domain, or even that 30% off discount code. All those are there, including a free trial to GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal business or business plus plans. That's a 1-month free trial. The rest of the stuff is just a great deal. That hosting plan, come on now, that is rocking. That's just $1 a month, $12 get you started. The .com itself is $8.49. So, that is a deal to get started, and we can get you a one-time .com for $5 or $4.99. But that 1-month economy hosting or 1-month managed WordPress hosting for a first year, again, at that just $1 a month level, including a free domain, cannot beat it. Matter of fact, when you buy a .com now, GoDaddy asks if you want a website to go along with that. We'll do it the opposite way. Come over here to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Click on that link or copy the promo code. Go over to the website. It'll lock in your savings immediately, and it allows you to select a domain name during that purchase. Do a little investigation, find that domain you want, and bada bing, bada boom, you're up and running and you're good to go. So you are supporting, when you buy a promo code with GoDaddy, you're supporting this team of writers, the website, me, insurance for this building, rent, everything else that goes along with it. So definitely appreciate your ongoing support of our sponsor, GoDaddy, and hope that you'll continue to support them as well. All right, so hey everyone that's online watching, make sure you say hello. If you're on Facebook, make sure you check in. I appreciate it when you do. I know you're here. Hi, Mom. Hi, Jim. So wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. How's your taxes? I mean, not your taxes. How's your portfolio doing? Don't panic. Don't panic. I know today was a big day in the stock market, and I know some of you are very, very worried. This is going to be a short-term thing. Don't worry. But how 72 hours change everything, including my schedule. So I made the decision really last night to completely change my entire travel plans, make some changes at Blueberry as well. Just things are kind of a little bit out of control. And it's a lot of uncertainty. I think that's part of the issue with even the markets. So this morning, I talked with my team at Raw Voice Blueberry Podcasting and gave everyone the immediate option to start working from home. And the majority of my team is going to start working from home tomorrow. We think it's a prudent thing to do. We're going to be doing video conferencing a couple of times a day and seeing how it goes here for the first week or so. And keep our fingers crossed. But I think it's just as well to do that. And just until things calm down. So I depart as had planned on coming back to Michigan today as it was. So I'm, instead of being here just for like 3 days or 4 days and back down in Columbus, I'm probably here for a couple of weeks. And so the show will go on from here. My immediate family, we're all kind of talking about what we're doing, and we're going to be limiting our external exposure as much as we can, just playing it safe. We're ready. And I think that probably many of you taking your own type of precautions. I can only see this thing ramping up. I don't want to be a scaremonger or anything, and I'm hoping that we don't run into the same situation that happened in Italy, but we just don't know at this point. I think we all probably pretty well aware. There's probably a lot of people walking around that don't know they're sick, and just the way it is, right? So. But, I guess in one way, it's going to be a little bit for me, it's going to be a little relief. Number one, I'm going to be home for a couple of weeks and be able to get caught up with. I got a lot of stuff I can get caught up with here. And got a whole bunch of equipment that needs to be reviewed. I need some testing in the studio, in the demo studio next door that I've rewired. Just a whole bunch of stuff I can do. I'm here essentially isolated in my office, so it's not like I'm going to have to social distance or anything like that. I social distance just by walking through the door. And other than that, I know some of you are probably in the same situation, and your businesses are probably, some of you have to go to work. So, be careful out there. And many of you are in a situation where maybe you can telecommute. There's going to be a lot of internet usage going on. And as indicated in one of the discussions, at least happened one of the articles I'm going to talk about tonight. So again, if you're watching on Facebook, make sure you say hello. I know we've got a pretty good crowd tonight, and I got started late. I basically got back here this afternoon about 3:30. Had to take care of a bunch of mail, unpack some stuff I had ordered from Amazon, do a whole bunch of stuff. But so here's an update on my son. So my son is still in Washington, D.C. Their competition was supposed to start today. So all these schools flew in from all over the United States, and the organizers pulled the plug at the 9th hour. And I'm a little irritated that they did it then instead of having the kids travel. So they're trying to arrange flights home. And I think they're going to be going. He'll be flying back to Honolulu on Saturday. He's very disappointed. They were ready to compete. They'd worked really, really hard. This is a lot of time put in. So we'll see what happens. But I told him enjoy the Washington, D.C., keep his hands washed, make sure you get to see some sights because it's oftentimes you're not going to be back there anytime soon. But anyway, so this is just the new norm. It's the way it is. And I think we all have to kind of realize it. Of course, now what did they do? The president last night shut down flight out of a number of European cities. And I really, if you think about it, and I didn't even realize it, I assumed when the United States shut down flights in from China and in from South Korea and some of those limiting factors of the flight restrictions they put, I just kind of assumed Europe did the same thing. And I guess that wasn't the case. So I don't know what they were thinking, to be quite honest with you, with everything going on. So, I keep hearing about cases here. And those of you that live in the United States that are not, I know we have many international listeners as well, but at least the news here in the United States kept saying, oh, he was been in Italy, 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 and then a lot of unknowns as well. So I think that maybe we would have shut down Europe flights a little sooner, but it is what it is. And I just don't understand why Europe didn't shut down access to China and South Korea, to be quite frank. But anyway, that's where we're at, and it is what it is, and everybody stay safe. But I'm going to be here in the studio, so that's good. You have more of me here, and we'll be live doing the live show. Everything goes well. So hello, Toby. Hello, Mark. Thanks for checking in online. So let's get in the stack. I got a good stack of stuff for you tonight to go over. And I think first things first is we just talk about these kids in Italy. Big news out of Italy that housebound Italian kids are straining network with Fortnite marathons. So with the Italy school shutdown, it's driving a surge in internet traffic. Of course, schools, shops, restaurants are closed in an attempt to limit the coronavirus outbreak, or COVID-19. So the amount of data pacing through Telecom Italia SPA network has surged, and they're struggling. And so they're trying to add on more overhead or more bandwidth. And so this is also the case I'm hearing happening throughout Europe, that a lot of mobile networks and folks are trying to put on more more capacity to handle what was definitely going to be some heavy usage. We're going to be doing video conferencing all day long, for the next multiple weeks with our team members. And when you're doing video conferencing, that's definitely going to add bandwidth. So we'll see if the local carriers here are up to it. I think it's going to depend on the city that you're in, on the capacity they have. There's a fair amount of video conferencing going on, but when you send everyone home and you're doing a lot more video conferencing to ask questions and do teamwork, it's going to add a whole new dynamic to us. I'm sure we're going to hear more stories about this. We internally, we use Slack video or Zoom, and then sometimes for customers, we use Citrix GoToMeeting. Slack works pretty good. So does Zoom. So that's what we're using. I don't know what you may be using at your business, but just a quick way to do a one-on-one with people seems to be a nice way to, instead of picking up the phone, actually see someone and talk. It works real well. So let me hear from you. What are your companies doing? Have you sent your employees home? Have you been sent home? For those of you with pre-existing conditions or those are older, I want to hear what you're doing. What are you doing different? And how are you using tech? Are you watching more Netflix? What's your plan here as we potentially go into a countrywide 14 or 21 day, kind of not necessarily lockdown, but limited more activity. And is your business getting hurt? How's it affect? When I was in Columbus, I really did not see a slowdown in restaurants. Just didn't see it. And I'm eating out a lot because I'm staying in hotels or I'm ordering in Grubhub. Did not see a lot of slowdowns, and I'm sure that probably the gig economy is going to be rocking because those folks. But what's going to be the danger there? So you're going to have folks that are driving Grubhub getting exposure to a lot of different people. In Hong Kong and in China, I heard they set up protocols where the actual they had, like in compounds, they had people go out and meet drivers, bring the food in. There was real, and using, I guess, full protective gear and everything. So it makes you go, just a little bit. I don't know if they're spraying the bags down or what, but it makes you wonder, doesn't it? So will your Grubhub or will your DoorDash or will your Uber Eats driver actually expose you to coronavirus? So are you just going to eat in, or are you're going to order out a lot? Is that even going to be possible? Hey, those of you who have a Mac, I have a Mac. How do you hide I don't know, what do you call it? It's the top bar that is on the top of the Mac where you find Finder and it shows all your stuff they have open. I've forgotten how to auto hide that. I can hide the dock. I forget how to hide the upper, I don't know, call it taskbar where it shows how much battery life you got left and all that stuff. All right, next article up, boy, oh boy. Bitcoin has not been a safe haven. Bitcoin has hit a 10-month low. It's below 6K, a stock plunge in a massive sell-off. And they say what's going on is that because the stock market has dropped so low, has went so far down, is that that some investors think that Bitcoin is being treated as a source of liquidity. Because they have margin calls to make, and they have to have so much money on hand to stay viable. So if they've been dumping Bitcoin to basically hedge against the bad stuff that's going on with the stock market and be able to get liquid, that's an interest. But you would think there would be some more analysis on that based on trading volume. But yeah, Bitcoin has dropped like a rock here. And Tom says, I'm licking every doorknob I can find. Oh, Tom, can go ahead. Knock yourself out. I'm going to be not completely antisocial, but I'm not going to be licking any doorknobs, okay? Let me know how that goes. So, Bitcoin down to 6K here. So, lots of activity. Doesn't matter if you're in the regular market or if you're doing Bitcoin stuff. Hey, on a more interesting note, of course, we talk about privacy here a lot. The ACLU has sued Homeland Security over airport facial recognition records. Essentially, the ACLU wants to know how the tech has been used at airports and at borders. I think that's a question I'd like to know as well. We know that surveillance is on the rise, but we don't know how extensively law enforcement agencies like Department of Homeland Security are using it. So the ACLU wants to know how they're doing. Of course, they reached out to Customs and Border Protection as well, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So the ACLU filed a E-Freedom Information Act on January 9th, requesting info on the government's contracts with airlines, airports, and other entities. So they're trying to get, so really that's not necessarily a lawsuit. I'm looking here. That is on January 9th, the ACO filed a Freedom of Information Act requesting info on the government's contracts. So that's not really suing. Anyone can file a Freedom of Information Act request. This is something that as you as a citizen of the United States can do so. I've done some of those. They're not complicated, but they can get very expensive. And you have to be very careful on what you ask for because they will come back to you with a bill and saying this is the scope. This is how much it's going to cost to get the print out, because they don't send you a digital copy. They send you a paper copy of everything. And then you have to pay for those prints and everything else that goes along with it. So anyway, we'll see what happens. We'll see what the ACLU finds out on airport facial recognition records. Now, this next one, I'm a little bit eyeball open because the title of the article over at Engadget is that Ring, yes, the company that was having some issues last year, temporarily pauses most third-party data collection, and users can also opt out of ad tracking. Now, Ring promised to give users more control over their privacy, and the company seems to make an honest effort. After the Electronic Frontier Foundation discovered that Ring apps were sharing data with third parties, Ring allowed users to opt out of certain data sharing practices as well as police video requests. Now the company is pausing its use of the most third-party analytics service for Ring apps and website while it works on a better solution. What were they collecting? Starting this week, Ring users can use the control center to opt out of sharing the data that is used to generate personalized ads. If a user opts out, Ring will not share their information with third parties to serve them personalized Ring ads, said the representative. Okay, but that's Ring advertising, not third party. So their exact statement was, we have temporarily paused the use of most third-party analytics service in the Ring apps and website while we work on providing users with more abilities to opt out in Control Center. In early spring, we'll provide customers with additional options to limit sharing information with third-party service providers. Users can now opt out of sharing their information for the purpose of receiving personalized ads. If a user opts out, Ring will not share their information with third parties to serve them personalized Ring ads. If they visit Ring.com and are not logged in through Ring, Ring will not know how to apply this preference to the user's visit. Although we believe personalized advertising can deliver a better customer experience, beginning this week, we will provide users with a choice to opt out in Control Center. This is just the tip of the iceberg, ladies and gentlemen. This is the tip. We're being collected on everywhere we go. Why does Ring need to collect information on us? It's a doorbell with a camera in it. Think about that for a second. At least one of their most popular apps is a doorbell with a camera in it. Why do they need to collect data? Why does that device need to collect data? What are they collecting? Why do they need to collect data on us? It really, really should start setting some alarm bells in some people's brains saying, WTF over. So be aware. Please, please be aware. Go in and change those privacy settings. I'd love to hear what you think about Ring and collecting data on you. What do you think they're collecting? Love to hear you. AT&T. You know, we have a lot of fun in the show, really kind of pounding on AT&T. So AT&T CEO's pay rose to $32 million in 2019. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'd love to have a paycheck like that. But no. But he got a pay raise to $32 million while he cut 20,000 jobs. He got a stock-driven pay bump after battle against investor firm. His total compensation package was $32 million, give him a 10% raise while he slashed tens of thousands of jobs and reduced spending on the network upgrades. His total compensation was $28.72 million in 2017, $29.12 million in 2018, and $32.03 in 2019. His base salary was $1.8 million all 3 years, but his stock awards jumped from 17 to 19 between 2018 and 2019. Yet He eliminated 7.6% of the workforce. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Just a little bit. Switching gears here, the ExoMars rover has been postponed until 2022. The European and Russian teams have run out of time for the 2020 launch window. So apparently they're having the same problem that NASA had with its rovers early on. The parachutes aren't ready. They've had a couple of spectacular failures, and they're still trying to get the parachutes ready. The parachutes are not ready. I guess we're not sharing information in that regard with the European Space Agency, because we've put a few rovers on the red planet, right? So, but to be in alignment again to get to Mars, they have to wait till like August of 2022. So we'll see if they get that figured out in the coming year here, coming year and a half plus. Announced today that Verizon just spent $1.6 billion on new millimeter wave spectrum. A lot of people questioning why. Verizon bought the most 5G millimeter wave spectrum at 1.6 for 4,960 licenses. AT&T came in with 3,267 licenses, with T-Mobile in at 2,384. This is the largest auction the FCC has ever held, and this is at the 27, 29, and 37, 39, and 47 gigahertz bands. And having had a pretty good long-term background in RF technology when I was in the Navy, that 37 gigahertz, that doesn't go through walls. You have to see, you almost absolutely have to see the antenna in order to receive the signal. It's point to point. It doesn't do well. So interesting what they're going to do there. But they want to expand, and I guess these licenses will allow them to do so. More news, Google's G Suite, and I have licenses with Google's G Suite. It includes Docs. Google Docs just surpassed 2 billion users. And I think I pay $5 per email address. And I get so much storage. Maybe it's 10, something like that. But you have 20, 30 employees on that. That's a nice monthly bill going back to Google. But Google's G Suite includes Docs just surpassed 2 billion users. That's impressive. It really, really is. Some of you got in there free. I have a couple of free accounts as well that they keep bugging me about, trying to get me to upgrade. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Hey, Michael. Hey, Stephanie. Michael says, my plan is to go into hibernation for 30 days. No work. I'm a freelancer, so I just won't take jobs. Got food, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. I'll see you all in 30 days. Stephanie, hi, how are you? Good to see you as well. Michael, what happens, though, if 30 days isn't enough? A lot of people can't just take time off for 30 days. Financially, they just can't do it. So hopefully the president's compensation package will be able to come to the rescue of folks that are in hourly jobs that may not be able to work. U.S. cable companies lost 5 million paying customers last year. This doesn't cause me any concern whatsoever. Comcast lost 732,000, Charter 462, Cox 150, Altus Networks 106K, Mediacom 66K, Cable One 39K, Atlantic Broadband 4,000, DirecTV lost 3.1 million, Dish TV lost 511,000. So, but AT&T was the biggest hit with 3.19 million subscribers lost alone last year. There's a new Twitter client out there. It's kind of interesting, called Brizzly, Brizzly. And Brizzly is a client that first launched in 2009. It's back with a new goal. And let me turn that off. To serve the needs of all the world's Twitter power users, the company's launching Brizzly Plus. Subscription costs at $6 a month or $60 annually. Gives people access to non-native Twitter features like an undo button and an auto deletion, scheduling, and a whole bunch of other things. It's not a lot different than some of the other applications I've used out there. But it can delay your post from 10 seconds to 10 minutes. And it probably just doesn't send it. It is able to delete an old tweet, but what it does is it takes the old tweet's information, copies it into a new post, deletes the old one, and lets you repost with maybe a correction. So it's not really letting you delete. But also, it allows you to set between 24 hours and 1 week when it deletes a post. So you can have tweets that are set to expire. And so there's some other third-party stuff that's out there. So it's called Brizzly, Brizzly. According to TechCrunch, Comscore is partnered with Twitch to bring gaming and esports viewership stats to advertisers. And this should not come as a surprise, but with this announcement, through a partnership with Amazon-owned gaming streaming site Twitch, the deal will see Comscore measuring video streaming activities, including gaming and esports, as well as other audience viewing metrics like me. I'm up on Twitch. Hey, hello. This will allow advertisers to get a better understanding of video viewing behavior on Twitch, which helps them in targeting their ad campaigns to reach key demographics. So it's all about monetization. I've been wearing an Apple Watch now for really since the Apple Watch has been out. I haven't owned another watch whatsoever, but I know some of you, ladies and gentlemen, like to have a nice designer watch. I know some folks still love Rolexes. I personally like a Tag Heuer myself. I really do. I don't own one, but Tag Heuer has a new smartwatch out. Starts at $1,800. So not at all in the most cheap category. It will give you a variety of information through some mini displays like heart rate, steps you've done, temperature of the weather, but yet still keep the elegance of a watch, supposedly. So interesting move by Tag Heuer. And yeah, not an inexpensive watch. And of course, they've got more expensive bands and stuff like that. But there's an Apple Watch out there. It's like $2,350. I think it's all about the band on that one. All right, President Trump has signed a bill to help rural carriers replace Huawei gear. This comes despite a lack of public evidence of spying. So they're about to help rural carriers give Chinese telecom equipment the boot. The president signed the Secure and Trusted Communication Networks Act and mandating the U.S. telecom rip out and replace any suspect foreign network equipment. Effectively, Huawei and ZTE equipment tasked the FCC with setting up a compensation program so that rural providers can afford to remove the hardware, improve security information sharing to prevent future use, and bars networks from using FCC-administrated funds to buy equipment from companies representing a national security risk. The measure had bipartisan support. Wow, that's a first, and was expected to become a law given the Trump administration eagerness to label Huawei a security threat. And there's always been lingering concerns about the severity of the claimed threat, but I'll be one to say that having come from stuff that I used to do many years ago, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Senators want to ban TikTok from government phones. I thought they've already done some of that already, but they're putting actual legislation in place. Senator Josh Haley, Republican of Missouri, and Rick Scott, Republican of Florida, have introduced a bill that would just that, claiming the social media app poses a national security threat. If passed, a No TikTok on Government Device Act would bar employees. I think most government employees that have phones, they just use them as phones and texting devices. I don't think they use them for too much of that stuff, to be quite honest with you, because those phones are so locked down to begin with. You don't even really. I'm kind of like, is this even legislation that's needed? I know we have some government employees out there. So does your government provided phone, totally locked down? You just can't willy-nilly add stuff to it, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Love to hear from you. geeknews@gmail.com. Now, not if you're a government contractor. That's a whole different ball of wax. This means if you are a U.S. government employee getting a paycheck from Uncle Sam who pays for your phone. Airbnb, boy, they had a bad quarter, and this is before the coronavirus. They reported a loss of $276.4 million, excluding interest, taxes, and depreciation and amortization, compared with $143.7 million a year later. Revenue increased by 32% in the period to $1.1 billion, and it has more than $2 billion in the bank. But wow, oh wow, they're gonna. If you think it's bad now, I canceled 3 flight reservations, 2 from United, 1 from Delta. I canceled 3 hotel reservations. I canceled 2 rental car reservations. What else? I'm not going to be spending food in the restaurant. I'm not going to be spending money in those locations. And that's just my travel that was for like the next month. Got like $1,500 or $1,600 in credit. Business credit on both United. I couldn't get through to Delta. When I called Delta this morning to cancel flights or cancel my flight to New York, the wait time to talk to an operator was 7 hours. I figure I'll call them back in a couple of days after the smoke settles, after all these European flight cancellations. If you're working for the airlines right now, I'm sorry. This is bad. This is like post 9/11 bad. Over at space.com, here's how a massive new telescope will revolutionize our view of the sun. And I'm not going to go into this article, but we've seen this particular picture before from the Huawei Solar Telescope. And, but we're going to have better pictures. That's not even probably the correct English, but better pictures of the sun. And, through this work that they're doing. And, so we'll see what happens here with the science. It goes beyond me. Quite blindingly so, I guess. Nice pun, yeah? Now, don't stop them now. Rocket Lab to pay homage to the rock band Queen and the next launch for NASA. Don't stop me now. Remember that? So, this is awesome. So, space startup Rocket Lab is planning a rideshare mission for its 12th launch. Again, colorfully named Don't Stop Me Now, after the 1978 Queen song. With a launch, the space technology company plans to send payloads into space for NASA, the National Reconnaissance Office, and other customers, which Rocket Lab announced in a statement. You know, NRO. NRO puts satellites up that we will largely never know what they are or what they do. Unless you are one of those operators that utilize one of those, I call it a non-air breather asset. So, anyway, that's pretty big if they've got some NRO contract already. All right, the new MacBook Pro, MacBook Air with scissor switch keyboard to launch by June. This is the rumor. So, when they do the refresh on the MacBooks, MacBook Pro and MacBook Air models, we're expecting this new keyboard. I've got one of the old ones on mine over there, and I'm very careful to keep it clean. Not as, probably not as clean as many of you do, but I did follow Apple's instructions and disinfected my laptop and my phone. And so I don't know if it's probably the dirtiest thing we use is our keyboards and our phones. I bet you rich people just have their keyboards replaced all the time. The rest of us have to clean them, right? So they don't get too grimy. Have you ever really deep cleaned a keyboard? It's it's bad. It's really bad. It really, really is. All right, moving on here. Well, we knew this was probably going to happen. The U.S. House votes to extend the FISA surveillance So they voted to approve legislation that extends the validity of the 3 federal surveillance tools slated to expire this weekend. Those tools are provisions of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA, which the FBI used to investigate the president and other people. I'm sorry. But the bill would do more than just extend the provision's validity. Since severe laws tend to raise privacy concerns, the bill would add new restrictions to the FISA court, overseeing requests for surveillance warrants. It would also bring changes to FISA wiretaps in response to the backlash the feds got for wiretapping former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page during the Russian investigation. In addition, the bill would prohibit the government from using FISA business records to collect information that typically requires a search warrant, such as phone location data. The penalties for misusing FISA would also be harsher, good, and would raise prison sentence for electronic surveillance improperly from 5 to 8 years, good. And the legislation fate is now in the hands of the Senate. Both House Democrats and Republicans were divided in their support, so it remains unclear if the bill would make its way to the president's desk. Question is, will he sign it? With all this spending going on, the president just asked for another $50 billion. You just watch. The last $8 billion one had a whole bunch of pork in it. And for those of you that forgot what the word pork means, that means lots of little pet projects, little fat on there for, congressional representatives that would normally not vote to approve a bill, where they get a library named after them, or they get funding for a bridge to nowhere, those types of things, right? So we'll have to see what kind of pork is in the $50 billion bill the president has just requested for COVID-19. Twitter, they are requiring all employees to work from home. So they were strongly encouraging it. Today, they updated that decision is now for employees that they must work from home. So that's pretty big. They follow Google and several other companies. But what's cool, Twitter is one of those companies that's got lots of money, and they pay for daycare of their employees, and they're going to provide reimbursement for additional daycare expenses. Well, if you're going to tell them to go home, tell them that they should let their kids be home. All Twitter employees will also receive reimbursement toward their home office setup expenses. Twitter's working with vendors to ensure their contractors' work from home needs are met as well. The reimbursement policy includes home office equipment such as desk chairs, ergonomic chairs, and cushions. Twitter is also allowing tweets to expense online fees while working from home. So interesting. So when you're used to working with a team, going home, it's not as easy as you think it is working from home. You have to have true dedication to do that. I know a bunch of the Tech Podcast Network members are going to be very, very unhappy. E3 2020 is officially canceled. So I guess that should not come as a surprise, but E3 is done. Same with NAB. And I'm quite dismayed over that. We're going to see if we're going to get any money back in the next couple of days, but I don't have my fingers crossed. Also, there's a lot of really bad characters out there trying to make money off the coronavirus. Whether it's charging $79 for a bottle of Perel, selling counterfeit face masks on Etsy, or claiming that you have a cure with COVID-19, with whatever, thing that you're promoting. So be careful, check the facts, go to the CDC. It doesn't hurt to use other things like essential oils that often make you feel better and make you relax. But I wouldn't count on those to actually be a cure. But anything that makes you feel better is always good too. If you feel better, you're less susceptible to stress. You're less susceptible to sickness. Now, some of you are gym rats. You like to go to the gym. What are you doing? Obviously the gym is a bad idea right now. Bad idea. Are you going to the gym? All right, there's an article over in CNET, and I be honest with you, and I'll just be frank, I don't really have the energy to go into this article. It talks about what's called the Earn It Act, and it's eliminating abusive and rampant neglect of and rampant neglect of interactive technologies. This was introduced as a way to establish standards for tech companies that could prevent child sexual abuse online. And this legislation is getting some pushback because people are concerned about privacy. They're concerned about broken encryption, backdoors, all the things that we've talked about over the years. But if any of you are following this, I would love kind of a rundown on this because I'll be honest with you, I haven't followed it. And if I, it's a pretty decent article on what's going on with it. But I don't know. It just seems like, a lot of these bills, they try to do things. Do they really help? We want to put these bad people away, let's be frank. But are these bills actually helping accomplish that? Or has things gotten to the point now with phone encryption and so forth to a point where it's just too hard? I don't know. There's an article over from Lifehacker talking about some apps you should uninstall. So there's 3 apps: AdBlock's Focus for Android and iOS, Free and Unlimited VPN for Android, Luna VPN for Android and iOS, and Mobile Data for Android. Those are 3 apps that are spying on you. Link will be up in the show notes. You definitely want to check that out. And the final article for tonight: OnePlus has invested $30 million into 5G research and development. The maker of budget-friendly phones intends to keep up when it comes to the network speed. I now have the email opened up. I should have. My computer crashed. Yes, Max crashed too. I got the show all prepped and ready to go tonight. And just as I was literally, okay, I think I can get there from here. Just as I was ready to hit record on the system tonight, get started, the Mac died on me. It just gave me some crazy error. Yeah, so no emails have come in. So I'd love to hear from you. If you've got comments or commentary on what's been going on, what you think's been happening in space, have you changed your travel plans? What are you doing? Are you coming back from a national trip? Are you, self-quarantining? What are you doing? Are you worried? You think this is overhyped? Really, let's hear from you. I get mixed feelings on this. I'm just at this point, I guess for a better word, kind of acquiesced. And I'm not going to get too worried, but next couple of weeks here in Michigan will do me good. Because honestly, it's just been insane. And you all have known from my travel experience, travel here lately, it's been nuts. At some point, maybe I can get some vacation, but there's really no place to go vacation right now. It's too dangerous. So, or go to Hawaii. I don't know. I just got to take it 1 week at a time here at this point. But anyway, everyone, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the Ohana Geeknews at gmail.com. Drop me your comments. If you're not an insider already, please consider becoming an insider at the $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, or $25 level. Definitely consider a one-time donation if you want to do that. Tax returns might get pushed. I'm hearing that. But my corporate tax is due in 3 days, and my accountant says, "Oh, I've mailed it to you." And I'm like, "You mailed it? You didn't FedEx it? We might not make it." So here's what it is, and hopefully it gets here tomorrow. But anyway, everyone take care. I'll be back with you here on Monday. And thanks for being part of the family. Thanks for watching the show. Those of you listening, thank you so much. And thanks for being part of the family. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.